Julian Edlow joins the program. He is the host of the Unreasonable Odds podcast, and he's with DraftKings as well. Julian, thanks for the time. Good to talk to you, man. We were just discussing some of their creative props up on the betting menu at DK, including the record breaker props. Some of the props that caught we'll get into what you like, but what were some of the creative props that are, maybe catching your eye at this point as we're more than a week away before the big game?
Yeah, there's so many. It's almost overwhelming when you're at pretty much any book betting Super Bowl props. But for DraftKings, when people have me on and say, why should we be betting on DraftKings Sportsbook? I tell them DraftKings is essentially the Cheesecake Factory of sports betting. The menu doesn't end, and you can keep flipping through and finding something you like on every page. We were chatting just before we went on about the octopus prop. Will a player get that, and having the yes/no option. I heard you guys talking the jersey number one just before I came on. I thought that's a great one. If you go into let's see, there's all the tabs here. If you go into the Super Bowl novelty props, one of the ones that I was almost putting on, you can talk to the coach's challenge one I was interested in. I couldn't get enough research done to necessarily get an opinion on that one. Kicks to hit the post. The list goes on and on. But I think being a DFS company originally, I think the prime examples of the best stuff we have are just getting unique player prop angles to bet on in different ways.
Yep. The octopus is 14-1. So will a guy have the same player have a touchdown and then get the 2-point conversion? We were talking before you came on. Can you make a case for someone other than Kelsey and Hurts to do this?
It's the Super Bowl. I mean, I guess anybody could do it in theory, but yeah, it's generally going to be one of the better players that is more active down by the goal line. So yeah, the Eagles. I lost an anytime touchdown scorer prop on Miles Sanders during the regular season during that Bears game because the Eagles refused to go with anybody but Jalen Hurts at the goal line.
Yeah.
He makes sense. Kelsey, obviously, they have all those little pitch plays to him, so those would be the two guys. I guess maybe a Miles Sanders, but there's not too many guys that you would feel too comfortable about.
You are going to take a shot. It's 22-1 on the board. It's for a non-quarterback to throw a touchdown pass. Take us through your thinking on this one.
Yeah, I don't have any fancy stats for you here, and this certainly isn't my favorite play on the Super Bowl. But when you're doing these segments, you got to get one of these. People want to bet something fun, something long odds in the Super Bowl. And this one, I don't think it's going to be the Chiefs side either, because you would think Mahomes would throw all the touchdowns for the Chiefs. So I'm seeing if DK Sportsbook can even put it up just for the Eagles side. It's a whole different regime than the Philly special, different quarterback, different coaches and whatnot. But with Hurts at quarterback, he's barely thrown for over 150 yards in a playoff game yet. If there's a team that would run some kind of special play down by the goal line, I think it would be them. So I think taking a shot at 22-1 makes a little bit of sense in a game like this.
Now, last year, the opening kickoff was not a touchback. That hurt my feelings. Same with Paul. We couldn't believe what happened. The Bengals player kind of waved it off. He easily could have brought it out of the end zone. But that has been a very trendy prop that has cashed over the years. I think it's 28-4, no touchback, last 32 years. What do you think about that with the current number on the touchback for the opening kickoff?
Yeah, I was on it with you guys last year. It was a frustrating result because it was right there. But the price, I gave that one out on DraftKings Sportsbook last year. I think it was like plus 145 when I gave it out. By the time we were doing our Sunday Super Bowl show, the play was minus 125 on DK Sportsbook. So it took a ton of money and the number really moved. So if we're going to go back to it this year and it's sitting at plus 160, I think that price is just a result of people losing it last year and being frustrated with the result like we were. So you gave out the number there, Mitch, 28-4. Generally, this kick is returned for one reason or another, whether because of the ball, it's not going deep enough, or it's the Super Bowl and you just want to grab the ball and run and go. It's come out of the end zone, or it hasn't gone to the end zone. So I'm just going to stick with the numbers long term here and say we're getting a better price this year on plus 160 and keep going with it. And year by year, we'll make money on it.
Let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Julian Edlow with DraftKings and also host of the Unreasonable Odds podcast. We talked about this late regular season and in the playoffs where these head-to-head playoff props, I think, are going to take off in the next couple of years and become extremely popular. For example, the head-to-head passing prop for yards, Hurts versus Mahomes. Mahomes is laying around, 45.5 yards, and you like the chalk here, as do I, but tell us why you like it.
I think you look at that 45.5 number, and maybe it's easy to just scroll by because it's such a big number. But let's look at what these guys have done. First of all, Hurts has barely thrown for over 150 yards in a playoff game. He had 120 something in the NFC Championship game. Now they've been blowing teams out, so they haven't been quite as tested, sure. But Mahomes almost broke the single season passing yard record. He's a guy where your prop is set over 300 yards generally on a weekly basis. Obviously, the Jacksonville game, he went well under because he got hurt and missed a big chunk of the game. Went well over 300 on the ankle injury in the AFC Championship game against Cincy. Now, better defense in the Eagles here in the Super Bowl, sure, but the Eagles want to run the ball, and the Chiefs are going to pass the ball. I think that the talent gap in the quarterbacks is massive. So the 45.5 yards is not enough to scare me away here. I could easily see would it surprise anybody if Jalen Hurts threw for 225 and Mahomes threw for 350?
Mm-hmm.
That's up 25 right there. I think we got plenty of clearance here.
Okay, very good. How about rushing attempts? Now, I did this before you came on, and if you account for each team to give a wide receiver an end around, I still can get I can get to 9 getting creative. And how do you get to 10? Explain your thought process with this one.
So that's exactly what I did in my head as well, Paulie, when I saw this. So this is you can bet on either team, number of players to have a rushing attempt. I went with the combine option. We are laying minus 150 on the under 9.5. But as we know, you're going to lay a little extra juice on some certain Super Bowl props if the number is right. So we have the obvious guys, Mahomes and Hurts on each side, and then KC's got the 2 running backs, Pacheco and McKinnon. We can give Philly the 3 running backs with Gainwell, Sanders, and Boston Scott. That gets us up to, like you said, the 7 there. Now we're going to account for a receiver on each team, which gets us to 9. Now we're going to need what? A Kelsey or a second receiver, or a quarterback injury, I guess, and a backup quarterback runs the ball. Those are the paths to losing this. I think it's pretty unlikely given all the options there. Those are all the primary ball carriers that get us to 7, and it's a pretty good cushion needing 3 other guys to touch the ball out of the backfield. I like the chances there.
Look what happened last week. The Eagles did run 5 different guys, but that's because, as Julian just said, Minshew came in the game, and he had a carry. That is unlikely to happen in the Super Bowl.
They gave Ronald Jones 1 carry.
That's the thing. Julian, you have to. The Chiefs had 7 guys have a carry against Jacksonville, but Mahomes got hurt.
Right.
Penny had to come in, and Ronald Jones never even got a carry in that game. But I think for this game, if you avoid Ronald Jones getting a carry, I think that's going to be a winner.
The Ronald Jones 1 carry was scary when I looked at the box score last week. Why do you need to give him a carry? Pacheco's running so well, McKinnon's so versatile. I feel like you maybe tighten up the game plan in the Super Bowl and keep Ronald Jones out of it. But yes, if we see Ronald Jones taking a carry in that game, I will be worried about this.
Yeah, no, good point. With the fumbling issues, too. I don't want him on the field if I'm Kansas City.
You can follow Julian on Twitter. He is at Julian Edlow, and make sure you catch his podcast. It's called Unreasonable Odds. He's with DraftKings. Great breakdown today, Julian. Thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime, guys. Thank you for having me.
Yep.
Great job.
Be good.
Visit VSiN.com to get current odds, listen for free, find showtimes, and download VSiN sports betting podcasts.